Hi everybody, my name is Brian Fennick and I'm the General Chemistry Lab Coordinator. I'd just like to give you a brief overview of how labs are going to work this semester. First, we'll go over some safety rules. Whenever you are in the lab itself, no matter what you are doing, the most important thing is that you are always wearing your safety goggles. We require safety goggles and not safety glasses because safety glasses, you could have something splash up here on your forehead and then have it drip down into the corner of your eye. But with the goggles, you have a very tight seal here and nothing can possibly get in your eyes. Let me emphasize that whenever you are in the lab, you must have your goggles protecting your eyes. Otherwise, you'll be ejected from the lab and sent home with a 0. In the laboratory space, you must have everything covered, all your skin covered from your torso on down. That means that the tops of your feet must be covered with socks, your ankles must be covered. There will be no short pants, no cutoffs, no belly shirts, no muscle shirts. You have to have sleeves that come down almost to the elbow, not the short ones that come down just over the shoulders. Everything has to be covered or else you'll be sent home to change and asked to return to the lab. And then you may not be able to get all your work done in time. Now I'll take you into the lab itself. I'll show you around and I'll show you where some of the safety equipment is. So this is the entrance to the General Chemistry Lab. There will be one entrance and one exit to keep the flow of traffic so that we can maximize social distancing. I'd like to point out some of the safety equipment that is in the lab. So every sink is equipped with an eye wash. To use the eye wash, you would use this if you got something in your eyes that burned. Of course, that won't happen because you're wearing your safety goggles, but just in case you did, you would go to the sink, grab the eye wash, squeeze the trigger, take off your goggles, and splash this water into your eyes. And you would continue to inundate your eyes with water for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Because the object that's in your eyes might be burning, you might have to use your other hand to pry open your eye to make sure that the water is getting in there. The eye washes are tested weekly by the teaching assistant to make sure that they're working and to keep them in clean running order. The second most important piece of safety equipment in the lab is the safety shower. Should you get any strong acids on your skin or on your clothing and you start to feel that it's burning you, you would go over to the safety shower. You pull this handle right here and it will dump a predetermined amount of water out on top of you and on the floor. Notice that there is no floor drain. So there is nowhere for the water to drain out. We only use the safety shower in emergencies. Another reason you might want to use a safety shower is if for some reason your hair or your clothes caught fire. You could go over and douse the fire out under the safety shower. There's a safety shower at each of the 2 exits to the laboratory. Always remember that the important safety equipment is located at the exits. Fire extinguishers are also located at the exits, as is an additional eye wash built into the wall. To use a fire extinguisher, hopefully we won't have any fires, but to use a fire extinguisher, you would grab it off the hook here, you would pull this pin like a hand grenade, and then you would squeeze the trigger and you would aim the flame retardant at the base of the flame in a sweeping motion until the fire has been extinguished. Another piece of safety equipment in the lab is the fume hood. Sometimes we'll be working with noxious vapors and we'll have to do our work under the fume hood. The fume hoods are not running right now because this is the summer. However, during the school year, the fume hoods will be running continuously, and every 1 or 2 minutes they will completely recirculate the air in the building. This is also good for preventing the spread of COVID. To use a fume hood, you just go over to the sash and you raise it up. There's a line on the side here. You should never raise above the level of this line, or else the vapors will be able to not get sucked out correctly. And the alarm might go off as well. So keep it at the level of the line or lower. When not used, always close the fume hood. The next order of business I'd like to talk about is your laboratory notebook and writing a pre-lab. Notice that these notebooks have carbon pages. So there's the original page, and then there's a carbon page. In this case, the original page is page 3, and here's the carbon copy of page 3. To use your notebook properly, take the periodic table that's at the back of the book and slide it in after the carbon page. Then fold it over to the original page. And now if you press hard enough with your pen, it'll copy through from the original page to the second page. Whenever you're writing your notebook, you will always write in ink in your notebook. Never, ever use a pencil in your notebook. If you make a mistake, that's okay. Just put an X through it and move on. You don't have to scribble it out. You don't have to use whiteout. You don't have to tear out the page or anything like that. Just put an X through it and continue. Before every lab, you're going to be requested to read the lab experiment online on Canvas and to read the precept for that particular lab experiment as well, and to watch a short video about how the lab is done experimentally. Then there will be a quiz, an online quiz on Canvas. The quiz will open 7 days before your scheduled lab date, and it will close at exactly the time that you begin lab. Every quiz is a 5-point quiz. There are 5 questions about the procedure, about the calculations, or about the safety equipment or the background theory. You must take the quiz before you arrive at lab at your scheduled time. It will grade automatically and enter the grade into the grade book on Canvas. The other thing you have to do before coming to lab is write a pre-lab into your notebook. There's a document on Canvas about how to write a pre-lab, but I will go over it briefly now. First, you want to fill in all the stuff at the top of the page. So your name, your partner's name, the course number, the experiment number, the date, and the title of the experiment. This information should be on the top of every page of your notebook. The second thing you'll want to do as part of your pre-lab is write a detailed purpose statement. The purpose statement should be written in your own words and should list in detail what all the goals of the lab are and how we're going to achieve them. Next, you'll want to divide your lab notebook into a half with a vertical line. On the left side of this line, you're going to write the procedure. You don't have to write out the procedure word for word. You can make a detailed outline of the procedure, and when you're making your outline, we encourage you, in fact, we expect you to make drawings that are showing what the different steps are that are going on. This helps us to know that you understand the procedure. The procedure only needs to be written in enough detail so that you could do the lab based on what you've written in your lab notebook. On the right-hand side of this line, you'll make spaces for where you're going to record your data. So here I've organized a data table for each part of experiment number 1, but I've left all the numbers blank. We'll fill those in when we come into the lab and do the experiment. This is where you'll write your experimental observations. At the end of the lab, you'll also have a statement similar to the purpose statement called the conclusion statement, where you'll list all your important findings of the lab and answer any post-lab questions. All post-lab questions get written directly into your lab notebook. In fact, all of your reports will simply be tearing out the carbon copy pages of your notebook and turning them in. All reports are due exactly 1 week after the completion of the experiment. Everyone will get a key to their own locker. Your locker will be signed at the beginning of the semester. On the first day of lab, you'll have to bring some money with you to pay for your safety goggles and your face shield, as well as for your key deposit. We will let you know by Canvas how much money to bring. Once you have your key, notice that there's a straight edge and there's the serrated edge. In order to work the key, you want to put the straight edge so that it's on the top. Then you push the key all the way in. Sometimes it sticks, so you have to push it all the way in and turn it. Sometimes the drawer sticks and you won't be able to turn it. So you can press against the drawer with your knee or your other hand, and as you press, you can turn it, and that should loosen up the drawer for you. Then you can open it. All the drawers are stocked with all the equipment that you'll need for this semester, other than common equipment which we put out for each individual experiment. This is your equipment, and you should make sure that you take care of it, that you don't break it, you don't lose it, you don't leave it out on the bench top, and that you keep it clean in between weeks. You can also lock your safety goggles and your face shield in your locker from 1 week to the next, since nobody else has the key to your locker.